Hmm. I need like an intro thing. Maybe it's just me as a bear flexing to some metal music.
Yeah, what's up YouTube? I'm Alberta 26.
Maybe that'll work. What's up YouTube? I'm Alberta26 and today I am super excited to talk about incoming Guardian Druid changes in Shadowlands. Very on the fence about whether or not I would play Guardian Druid for Shadowlands. I usually default to leveling my Druid first, but Guardian did not look very good until I learned about some changes today. Prompted me to actually look into like all of the class changes coming in Shadowlands. So I just wanted to make a video kind of talking about my impressions about these changes and where I think the class and the spec is going in general. I'm on Wowhead right here. I'm on their awesome class changes page. Shout out to Wowhead, great page. Things that we already knew, there were a bunch of global cooldown changes. Everybody's getting big global cooldown changes. The main one regarding Guardian Druids is Berserk. We're getting Berserk back and it's off the global cooldown. That's excellent. Very happy about that. We also recently received access to something that we used to have once upon a time. I haven't had it for quite some time. It's the Infected Wounds debuff. They're bringing this back. It's on Mangle and it's on Maul. That is going to up our kiting ability significantly. As far as I know, this isn't going on Feral, so PvPers cannot cry themselves to sleep over this, so that's good. I'm somewhat disappointed that it's not going on Swipe or Thrash. You won't be able to very easily apply it to a whole pack of things, but in cases where, say, something's gotten bolstered a little bit too much, you've had a little hiccup there, this will be very useful for that. And you can use Maul to try and kind of spread it around a pack, so you could get it on there eventually, but it is going to up the kiting capabilities significantly. In this last round of changes, they also buffed Moonfire damage, which does help out Guardian, you know. They buffed it for every spec, so that's great. I was under the impression that we were losing Typhoon and we weren't going to have access to Ursol's Vortex. Not so. You get Ursol's Vortex for using Restoration Affinity. That's my go-to affinity in the key environment anyway.
A lot of stuff on me. Gonna heal myself through it.
I'm into that. They also are removing Lunar Beam. I'm fine with this. I've never used it ever in my whole career of WoW. So, give this a shot. Huh. Okay. I am interested in the talent that they're adding to replace it though, Tooth and Claw. Auto attacks have a 20% chance to empower your next Maul, stacking up to 2 times. Empowered Maul deals 40% increased damage and reduces the target's damage to you by 15% for 6 seconds. So a little something that you can use as kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's defensive, obviously. You're dependent on a proc, so that's not great. But 20% chance on auto attacks. You should have stacks later in a fight, not at the beginning of a fight, which is usually when a Guardian Druid is feeling their weakest, right at the beginning. You know, we gotta run in there with cooldowns or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know how this will play out. But Infected Wounds, excellent. Glad to have that back. And then another change went out to one of our legendaries. And this gives me a lot of hope. So we already had some pretty good looking legendaries, but they revisited how they want this legendary to work right here. Now, I don't even know what this was called to begin with. It had something to do with Ursoc. That's how out of the loop I was. But now it's called Ursoc's Fury Remembered. And in bear form, Thrash has a 15% chance to trigger an additional Thrash, and Thrash grants you an Absorb Shield for 100% of all damage it deals. That is pretty crazy. You pop Berserk, you go in on a big pack, and you're thrashing constantly, and you're getting an Absorb for 100% of all that damage. This is like a damage and healing buff this will be the mandatory legendary in keys, I feel like, at least at the beginning of the expansion. Maybe later when we're all geared out and doing whatever the heck we want, you'll be able to run whatever legendary you want, but in the meantime, and especially when you're pushing, I feel like this is going to be the legendary. Not just going to be the best legendary, but it's enough to make us more than viable. Competitive, perhaps. It's unfortunate that it's going to be a legendary, which is, you know, obviously a borrowed power mechanic. This is viability right here. This is better than viable. This is enough to give me really good vibes thinking about playing Guardian Druid going into Shadowlands. By more than viable, I mean I think it can push us up into the top 4. I mean, we've seen where pretty much across the board everybody agrees that you've got Death Knights and Demon Hunters and Paladins and Monks that are all like well viable, not too niche, overall playable specs that will be able to push into high-end content. And Druids and Warriors left in the dust. Warrior doesn't surprise me. I was going to play Warrior anyway, to be honest, despite all the negativity around it. I feel like just the nature of that class is that they lack self-healing, and they reward good gameplay and punish poor gameplay. People who don't know how to push their fucking shield block button are not going to survive. Ah, not like this. But Guardian Druid is kind of in this weird spot. Everybody agrees they have utility. They felt like they didn't have the damage and they didn't have the survival. Giving us infected wounds is another piece of utility, but that utility translates into survival. So that was like something that was really welcome. And then seeing this Ursoc's Fury Remembered as this legendary, I think that the Absorb Shield on that is going to push us up into capable at least. I don't know what else. I don't know what more you could hope for. I could hope to be outstanding, I guess. I think that these recent changes especially, they give me hope. And I think that there's a very high probability that you will see the Alberta 26 playing a Guardian Druid, at least for the first part of this expansion. They did make one other change to Guardian Druid. They took the Kyrian Covenant ability off of the global cooldown, which makes it competitive. For me, it's not, because for class fantasy, I'm just going to have to be Night Fae, whatever they are, Ardenweald, whatever it is. Here we go. Kindred Spirits has come off of the global cooldown. So, I mean, depending on your spec and your role and all that jazz, of course, it behaves differently. But I think, especially for Guardian, I mean, what a no shit button, right? Protect your bonded partner, redirecting 40% of the damage they take to you unless you fall below 20 health. It's like, it's an external for your party. You can't be mad at that. And you can just use it for yourself if you want. You don't need to form a connection with someone else. You can just form a connection with your inner self. All right, I think I want to wrap it up here. We covered all those changes. You know, I'm very excited for Infected Wounds to come back. I was reasonably excited about Berserk. I'm very excited about the changes to this Ursoc's Fury Remembered legendary. And I think that it's going to put Guardian Druid in a much better place in Mythic Plus. And if we're being honest, that is where they did not shine. They definitely brought a decent amount to raids, but Mythic Plus, they were not feeling great. And I am very optimistic about these changes. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more content, please subscribe. You can check me out on twitch.tv/Alberta26. I stream there irregularly. And thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Alberta26. Game on.
Check me out.
No.
Twitch.tv/Alberta26.
No. Check me out.
No, check me out.
No. It's going in the video.